What is up, everybody? Sera Moon here, coming to you from the Charles River in Boston, Massachusetts, with a 20-minute breathe. Really excited to get down to some steady work with y'all today. Gonna be a good 20 minutes together, but before we get into it, we gotta take a look at those metrics on your screen. All right, that first one I want you to look at for me is that big number in the right-hand corner that says /500M. That there is your split, otherwise known as your speed. So, combination of two things. First thing is your rhythm. That's how many strokes you're taking per minute. Pair that with your effort, just how hard you're pushing with your legs. The harder you push, the more resistance you're gonna feel in that handle, the faster you're gonna go. Our rhythm and our effort is gonna be super consistent today. So let's get into it. We're gonna find a 20 on that rhythm number. Nice and slow and steady right here. All right, 20-minute breathe is commenced. Here's the deal. We got 4 5-minute chunks, right? The first one, 20, second 22, and we're gonna go back and forth between the two. The reason we're switching between that 20 and that 22 is to keep you a little bit engaged, a little bit on your toes, all right? But the purpose of the whole row today is building that base. You came here and you sat down to work on yourself. Whatever the goal is, this work we do and these strokes we put in are laying that really strong foundation. It doesn't have to be max effort, and today is just building. All right, so the whole technical focus is efficiency. Between that 20 and that 22, we're just gonna be working on spinning the wheel, keeping it moving, and doing the fastest work for the lowest effort. Doesn't mean we're going super fast, but let's just see if we can find that split. That's something we're working for, but it feels sustainable, almost easy. All right? So, at that jog pace, let's lean into it here. Really nailing that 20. Sitting tall. It's my first row back on the Charles River this year, actually. And it's April. Spring in Boston is so silly. One day, it's spring, it's beautiful, everyone's happy and they're outside and they're smiling and they're waving at each other. And the next, it's a little like this. And everyone's grumpy, cutting you in line, cutting you off in traffic. So we're here on a more wintry day, in the spring nonetheless. Looking forward to it all. Taking in the sights and hoping that all these trees around us start to get some buds soon. Good. Sitting tall. So I said, today is about spinning that wheel. What I mean by that is, if you've ever stood next to a bicycle wheel that's maybe not on the ground, or spun like a pinwheel with your finger, anything that rotates, really, it's a good analogy. Or if you've ever ridden a razor scooter as a kid, or maybe you have kids who ride them, you don't want to stop the momentum. You know, if you're spinning it, if you're speeding up on that scooter, if you start to stomp, if you start to really whack at it, you're gonna lose the speed, right? It's not gonna keep moving, it's gonna slow down and then go a little slower. It's gonna feel slow, sluggish. So rowing is really similar. If you go every stroke and just, whack at it, That's not efficient. I want you to think about every stroke as this kind of pick, this slight little tap with your foot on the ground as you're scootering along, or on that bicycle wheel as you spin it around. Just pick it up on the toes, press through those feet, and send it back. Letting your body go through that sequencing that hopefully we've talked you into by now. Squeezing those legs down, sending those shoulders back to open the core, letting those arms swing in. Nice. So now that that's all front and center, let's take it up to a 22 for our next 5 minutes. Sitting tall and finding that reset. So the reason that I've kind of chunked out this 20-minute row into these 5-minute intervals is that even though we're maintaining that jog pace effort and only changing our rhythm a little bit, it still gives us this impulse to really check in with ourselves, have a little reset every five minutes, and say, what can I do better? Break it down, these tiny little goals. So for these 5 minutes, let's lock in to that pick that I called it, that little chipping it along, with that consistent effort. Not whacking at it. You're not carrying the weight of the world every stroke. We're just taking it along. Nice. Efficient. Lean and mean. Good. Nice work. Lock in. Might feel a little easier at the 22. Let your arms flow out. Find that fluidity. Good. What I think about as we go through this is the past few weeks I was in this selection camp for a boat, a quad, so there's four people sculling. And basically every day for a few weeks they have us all in boats next to each other, and they're comparing, they're swapping us around with different partners, different boat mates. And every practice you're being compared, but not every practice is like a hard workout. Most practices are just like this. You know, we're out there for 2 hours at a time. You're rowing in your boat with whoever's in it with you for the day. And it's not as fast as you can. It's steady base building work. But you're always being compared, right? So we have a tendency as competitive rowers and women to really work for it even on those easier days. Because if coach is watching, you better be in the boat that's going faster. So we have to keep ourselves in check at those moments and those practices, because really we're here on these easier days to build that base, to stay in that heart rate zone, to stay jogging. But you always want to be fast. So you're forced to find efficiency. You're forced to say, okay, I can't work crazy hard for 2 hours straight every single day I show up to practice, but I want to go fast. So you have to find the best way to move the boat. And even though it feels good when you're strong in those legs, to say, ah, and really go for it, that's not what's gonna move you for those long practices and build your base. So, we're working again. Take these 40 seconds left of this 22 we have here. Find that springiness off the front of your stroke. We come up to the catch, we spring back. Don't pull, but think about chest up, toes push into that footboard, shoulders swing back. Let your body uncoil naturally. Good. 5 seconds here. We're gonna make the shift down to that 20 on this one now. Good, halfway done. And 5 minutes to refocus again. A little reset. Sit tall. Heart rate might come down a little bit. Split might come up a little bit. That's all okay. So remember, that split, that /500M, is a combination of effort and rhythm. So if we're keeping this effort up at that jog pace, but the rhythm comes down, then our split's gonna come down a little, rather go up a little. So giving yourself a little grace and using these 20 minutes to figure out what that comfortable pace is. When you finish this, we're not gonna feel gassed, right? I want you to feel like you're at the runner's high. Like you're like, yeah, I can keep going. Let's keep going. That's what we want. Just locked in. Letting the process happen. Letting each stroke you take build. Build those lungs, build that heart, build those legs. Yeah, building better you, sitting tall. Good. I love crossing that halfway mark because my own workouts every day, I feel like I break things down in my head in that way, where I'm like, all right, we're starting, we're going for it, we're doing it. And then I'm just waiting, counting down those minutes until I get to halfway. And then we're just running downhill. The work is done, baby. We're just here, making the most of the last few minutes we have. Good. I said it's my first row back on the Charles this year. I've been in Florida since January 1st. God, much love to the state of Florida. I know a lot of you are from there. I'm glad to be back in New England. I love it there, but it's a lot of sunshine. So the clouds are welcome. But I drove there and I drove back. It's a long drive if you've ever done it. It's like 24 hours. And obviously that didn't feel great on my body. So when I got home, I had a good night's sleep. The next day I got up. It's been 2 days since I rode because I was driving. I got on my Hydrow to shake it out. And oh my God, I felt terrible. Like seriously awful. My heart rate immediately so high. My perceived effort so high. And so I swiped everything away, swiped the leaderboard away, made the split out of my brain, and I just rode to feel good. I just did what my body was telling me was the right level of effort. I had a long row, I did 90 minutes. And the first 30 of that I said, like, we're not gonna pay attention to anything but how I'm feeling. And by the end of the first 30, I felt a little better, but not great. Second 30, I was feeling better. And then the last 30 minutes, I was like, my body is good now. It took me that long to warm up, but sometimes it does. And so that last 30 minutes of my long 90-minute shakeout row, I finally felt like warm and ready, like my body was feeling happy with me again. And sometimes it takes a little while to get us there, get feeling good. And hopefully, if it took a little while for you today, these last 5 minutes we have at this 22 are it for you. So let's pick it up. Let's get that last reset in. Big deep breath. Good. And just picking up that rhythm for one last time today. Finding the efficiency, seeing that split drop by a couple numbers as our speed picks up. I'm just feeling really proud, hopefully feeling nice and warm and making the best of this. Good. So I had to give myself about 60 minutes of grace and then finally felt good. And this morning, my second day back, I felt even better. So sometimes, especially, I know routines get disrupted all the time for a variety of reasons. And sometimes it can feel really frustrating when you come back and you sit down for a row. Maybe it's been a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, and you're like, man, this is not what I remember it feeling like. This doesn't feel good. This is not where I want to be. That's okay. Let's stop worrying about where we were or how it is now. Let's think about this is the starting place. Every day it's the starting place. Where are we going to build to? How much better is it going to get? The answer is a lot, especially if you keep coming back. Good. Just trusting that when you sit down and you take these strokes, they're making you stronger. Lungs, heart, and mind. Yeah. Good. Finding those efficiencies, those last 3 minutes here. Sitting tall and breathing out with your strokes. Good. Thankful for this flat water to welcome me back to this river that I love so much. Making the most of it. Good. I'll also say, I mentioned that selection camp I was in. It was for big boats, the quad, which is a much bigger boat than the single. And it's a different rowing experience, obviously because you're with teammates, you're matching up, but it also goes a lot faster and it's a lot wider. So I feel like I personally, over the last 18 minutes, have felt so much more stable in this single than the first few strokes we took today. Whew. Feeling good. Took me a little while to get there. They don't tell you this. Maybe you can tell. These boats are pretty tippy. Good. We're all fighting our own battles. Nice work, y'all. Stepping back, relaxing those shoulders, stepping through the toes. Good. Tall chest, long arms, relaxed face. Seeing if we can get that split a little lower for these last 60 seconds, maintaining the 22, maintaining jog pace, but just with like a little technique change. Maybe you try to keep your arms a little longer. Good. Maybe you swing your shoulders a little harder. Yeah. Maybe you try to push those legs just a little quicker, a little sooner. Those little things make a big difference in the long run. Yep. Nice work. Holding it. Enjoying every second. Yep. Last few strokes of the day. Feeling proud. Lungs are open. Blood's flowing. And our last stroke. All right, let's put that handle down. Amazing work. Laying that nice foundation down. Check the box. And you did it. So proud of you. My name is Sera. Thank you for doing that 20-minute breathe. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Thank you.